今回の日本公演、アメリカのツアーもやはりワールドツアーの途中で日本に来てるわけですけど、随分バンドの状態が良くて、それがステージパフォーマンスからも伝わってきたんですけど、その辺どうだったでしょうか。
Actually, you're right, and we've been on a world tour since the release of our last album, The Last Stand, and this is the end. So tonight, when we are on stage, basically tonight in Tokyo, it's gonna be wrapping up. It's the last real tour that we do for this album. After this, we will go home, regroup, start writing new songs, and then we'll be back.
今回ステージにタンクなかったですね。あれなんか大きすぎて持ってこれなかったんですか。
We didn't bring the tank here this time, and the club shows are a little bit smaller, more complicated, and the production-wise, to bring the tank here, we couldn't make it happen this time.
Okay.
But there'll be more times, and there'll be another level for the fans to see the next time.
過去2回の来日はラウドパークでフェスティバルだったんですけど、今回初めてのヘッドライナーショーだったんですけど、初めてヘッドライナーショーをやり、さらには新しい都市である大阪にも行って、今回の日本公演を振り返ってどうですか。
There's a lot of new stuff on this tour happening for us, and it's a shame actually from our side that it took us so long time to come to really tour in Japan.
Yeah.
But previously, when it came up with the ideas of touring Japan, it was always in times when we had other tours planned in Europe or America. Now the timing was absolutely perfect, and we had such a great time when we played at Loud Park. So we felt before the end of this touring cycle, before we make a new album, we should really return to Japan to do a proper tour, our first tour here, and to see the result of this. And so many people in the crowd for first time touring the country. Wow, this is very, very unusual for us. So we feel that Japan really liked Sabaton as much as we like Japan.
大阪のファンどうでしたか。初めての大阪で。
I loved it. I had a little bit of time during the show day, so I actually went up to the castle, saw a bit of the cherry blossoms.
Oh yeah.
And I did not go to Rock this time. I missed it, I'm afraid, but I want to see it in the future. But it's I really liked it. I mean, I've only seen Tokyo before, and I've been to Kyoto with my wife. So for me to see something else than the same cities, it was really nice. And as Per said earlier, it's good to be here, but not only on a professional level, but also personally. On a personal level, this is one of my favorite countries to visit. So the more time I spend here, the better.
How about you, Sam Christian? How was the audience of Osaka?
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah?
Really, they were very loud. Loud and no, it was a fantastic experience actually to play on the stage in Osaka. In Tokyo as well, of course, but it was great, and as Joachim said, going around up to the castle and see the cherry blossom as well was very nice to see.
どうですか。もうすでに日本のファンが温かくもう君のことを迎えてくれているっていう、やっぱり日本のファンって特別ですか。
It's very special to me. Yes, I'm very happy. Of course, you're always worried when you're a new member entering such a big band that you're thinking, how will the fans accept me? And I felt from the start that the fans accepted me very well, and especially here in Japan. And I'm very happy for that. Very happy. It's a really special feeling.
改めて今回今ツアーももう終わりですけども、ニューアルバムについて振り返ってもう客観的な立場でニューアルバムを分析できるようになりましたか。
When we just have made an album, we have no idea about it. It's like it takes a couple of months before we even have an idea about if we have done a good album or a bad one. So we need some time to reflect upon it. And the same with a tour. It needs to be done before we can reflect upon it. Of course, I can look to numbers and see, okay, it was a great success. But also, there is so much when we are in the middle of it, we are living it. Of course, this tour took us to a lot of new places. It took us to a lot of new venues, arenas around the world. And when things calm down in a couple of months, then I think we really will think about what we achieved on the last tour. And I think we will be very happy to see where it took us. And then we can plan for the future.
改めてお聞きしますけど、バンドにとっても日本のファンにとっても城山を日本でプレーするっていうのはどちらにとっても非常にそのエモーショナルな感じがするんですよ。実際パルはどうでしたか？
Of course, we are obviously by the themes that we are writing about, every one of them have locations. So all of our songs, all of our battles happen somewhere. And when we perform them in those countries where the battle actually happens, there is a special connection. The fans and the band feel it to that specific song. And since we wrote the song SHIROYAMA, we've been waiting to perform it in Japan. We performed it on Loud Park last time, and now we could, of course, we perform it now. And even if, let's say in the future, maybe we are touring in Germany in a couple of years from now on, maybe we will not play that song. But when we go back to Japan, we are looking forward because probably we will be playing that song for a long time in the future.
僕のね、大阪のラジオのディレクターが大阪公演見に行ったそうなんですよ。ラウドパークではもちろんそのサバトン見たことがある人なんですけどね、その人が僕にメールで言ってきたことは、サバトンのコンサート見てるとなんかその友達感覚がすごくバンドとオーディエンスが友達のような感覚の中でライブが展開されていくので、他のバンドとは違うその感情がそのライブハウスっていうかシアターから生まれてるような気がすると。やっぱりそれはバンドが意識してオーディエンスとの距離を縮めてそういうパフォーマンスを見せているっていうことなんでしょうか。他のバンドではちょっと感じない現象だっていうふうにね、その方言ってるんですけど、どうでしょう。
Yeah, I mean, it's in a sense the crowd is what's going to be different for us. The songs are going to be the same. Of course, we might have different set lists depending on where we are, but the fans is what's different for us every night. Because of course we play Primo Victoria or in Japan we play SHIROYAMA. We played those songs many times before, but what's unique and different about every night is the crowd. And that's really what I think is the most interesting thing about doing the show. I love to play the music, absolutely, but to have fun and only with these guys, I can do that in the tour bus, we can do that all the time. But to be able to connect with the crowd, and that's also one of the hardest things, I think, to do, to really connect with the crowd. You can try, but it's not always you succeed. But happily enough, people here are so polite that they actually listen when I talk between the songs. There are some other countries where they'd be so drunk and they just sing and do whatever, so they're not even listening to what I say, and at that point it's going to be very hard to connect. But here, no problem.
It's the perfect size venues here when we're playing a club for this amount of people, because we can see everyone in the crowd, we can know that they're having fun, and this gives the energy to us. If we are playing a bigger arena or a stadium or something, there's going to be people so far away that we do not know if they are enjoying themselves, if they are talking about something else, if they are missing something in the show. But when we are in a place like this, we feel everybody in the crowd, and you are so close to everybody, you can communicate with the entire crowd, and this is a more special feeling, and I think most artists appreciate the same. It's great to play for huge arenas and stuff, but the intimate feeling of a club is always winning.
But the whole combination, that's actually what makes it possible for us to do what we do, right? So if we have a signing session and we meet fans that say to us, thank you for coming. Yeah, well, thank you for coming, because it's quite a mutual thing actually. If they don't show up, we're going to play at home because there's nobody to play for. So we're in this boat together actually, So.
Yeah, I mean exactly what Hannes said. If they don't show up, we can show up. So I'm very happy they show up.
What was it that who said that? Is it Lemmy said it?
Yeah, Lemmy said it, that I don't mind the people showing up to the hotel waiting for the band.
Yeah.
I fear the day they won't.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
そうで今パルはね、今回はライブハウスっていうかそのちっちゃい会場で、例えばスタジアムでやるときはなかなかこういかないんだって言ってるんだけど、僕はそう見ないんですよ。それは例えばね、 ヨアキムの MC の中に必ず登場するのはオーディエンスに向かってフレンズって言うんだよね。フレンズってあのフレンズの一言で、たとえそれが500人であろうと5000人であろうと5万人であろうと、多分そこでもうフレンズとしてもうね、オーディエンスとバンドつながってるんだと思うんだよね。だからヨアキムがオーディエンスに向かって語りかける時に必ず言うフレンズって一言はすごくマジカルで、あの一言でこう会場がグッと僕はね、本当にバンドとオーディエンスじゃなくて友達っていう感覚が生まれるんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、その辺どうですか？
Well, I would say it makes it bigger venue and a bigger arena makes it harder to connect. But yeah, I used the word friends. I didn't, have a plan when I started using it. But it is one way for us to try and bring everyone closer in. Because for us, the feeling is much better if it's us, not us and them, I don't know how to explain it. It sounds like I'm some kind of strange hippie now, but there is some kind of energy going on in a venue. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't mean it in a hippie way, but to try and work away this thing of band and audience and just think of one us. How can we make sure that as many people in this room can have as much fun as possible?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing again, right? We do it together. If the audience has a really terrible show, we're going to have a terrible show as well. So we try to make everything as good as possible and have as much fun, and we do that together with the people we're playing for. So in that sense, we can have as much fun if there's 5 people in the audience, or if there's 50,000, right? So in that sense, size doesn't matter.
And I've heard that there are not all bands, but many bands have been coming off stage and you tour with them and maybe on festivals and you hear them, they complain about the crowd. Oh, it was a slow crowd today. Yeah, and it's weird because if something goes wrong like that, why don't you think, what did we do wrong? That should be the automatic reaction. And if we have a night where we go off, thankfully it doesn't happen very often, but if for one reason we didn't feel, oh, it was not that good tonight, we don't blame the crowd, because it is the crowd's right to feel exactly the way they feel. We should not complain that they were slow. We should ask ourselves, what did we do wrong to not make them happy? Even if they had a shitty day, our main mission is always, and always has to be, to make them forget that shitty day and come out of the venue with a smile. And if we can do that, then we've done something really good.
サバトン今までいろんなことやってきましたよね。例えばサバトンクルーズだとか、サバトンフェスみたいな。今後パルはこのサバトンをどういうレベルに引き上げてどういうことをやっていきたいと考えていますか？
Yes, there are many ideas, and some of them have not been able to realize yet. Things take time. They require that we are on a certain level for doing something. You cannot start a festival the first thing that you do with a new formed band. You need a certain amount of fans before you can do that. And there are ideas that we have been talking about for many years. We are not there yet. So we're gonna need a couple of more fans, then we can do them. But of course there are always visions for this, and we have always been a band that had a lot of ideas, and some of them we have been, luckily enough, we have been able to realize, like the Sabaton Festival, the Sabaton Cruise. We have also launched a radio station, and a couple of things like this we have been able to do, but there are still a lot more to do, and this will require time and more fans eventually, before some of the projects that we have been dreaming about is possible. I mean, to have a tank on stage was one of those, like, yeah, we want a tank on stage, but it requires a lot. You can't just buy a tank and put it on stage. You need to have a suitable venue for it. You need to have all the people to bring it over there and to ensure that it happens, and somebody to build it, construct it, design it, and all of this. And that was something we couldn't do the first time we said, we're gonna have a tank on stage. Yeah, we will, one day, but not today. But now we have a tank on stage, so it was a thing. But it took a couple of years from the first time we said we want to have a tank on stage until it was actually there. And during those times, people questioned us, like, when is the tank coming on stage? When is the tank coming on stage? You said you're gonna have a tank, when is the tank coming? It will come when we are ready for it, and then we were ready for it.
Well, that's great. Okay, lastly, why don't you give some message to Japanese fans, one by one? That's Kamala. Okay, from Paul.
Okay, thank you everybody. We are a bit sorry that it took us 19 years before we could tour to Japan and finally come to, for example, Osaka. So thank you very much for waiting for us, and we promise from us that it's not going to take that long to come back. After seeing so many great fans, so fantastic reactions, we definitely going to come back.
Yoki?
This is always the hardest part. It comes in almost every interview, the final words, and I never have a good answer. But genuinely, thank you so much for the good times. I have so many good memories from this beautiful country, and I really can't wait to come back.
Well, for me it's always been a dream to come to Japan, and within 6 months I've been there twice, including a tour, so it feels great. Thank you so much for being great fans, thank you for being a great crowd, and thank you for still accepting me as the Baka.
Baka. Okay.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
I was ready to.
No, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to come here every time, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and I got so surprised that our first headline show in Japan went so big, and everybody's just smiling and having fun, and I really want to come back, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Well, domo arigato Japan, that's it for this time. Kampai, and so long, and thanks for all the fish, the beautiful culture, the great shows, and genuinely a really good time. We're going to go home now, write an album, and then we'll be back really soon. Thank you.